What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to edit videos in Adobe Premiere Pro. When you first open the program, it's going to look something like this, right? It has different interfaces, as a timeline, the project folder, the effects control, source monitor, the program monitor. If your screen doesn't look like this, go to Window, Workspace, and go to Editing. Then it's going to look like this. Okay, so when you first open the program, it's empty because you haven't loaded any footage. So the first thing you need to do when you're editing, you need to create folders in the software. So these folders are called bins. This is the fancy name for folder. So before you start anything, you have to go to your project folder. So I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to create 4 folders. And in order for you to create a bin, I'm calling them folders, but it's actually called a bin. You can go to File, New, Bin, and then now a bin is created. Now I'm going to name my bin footage. You can also create a bin by pressing Control B or Command B. So I'm going to press Command B. I've just created another one. I'm going to call this one offline. And I'm going to create another one called music. Let me fix that. Music, fix that. And I'm going to create another one called sound. Now I've got these 4 folders and I'm ready to start editing. Before I start editing, I'm going to have to bring my footage into the software. Okay, so what I do is I go to the footage bin and I right click and I say import. This is how you bring footage into the software. So you can right click and say import. Then it's going to open your folder, your computer. So for me, it's already opening the folder with all my files. So I'm going to select all these files and click open. After a little while, I've loaded the footage. I've got some music and some sound files. Another way you can import footage is by going to File, Import. And you can load footage that way also. One thing I forgot to do, I see I've put everything all in one place. So whenever you open a project, you need to sort your files correctly. So I'll leave the footage in the footage folder and I'll move the sound into the sound folder, and then I'll move the music into the music folder. It's very important to stay organized because you want to be able to find things, and you also want to be organized so that if someone else works on your project, they can find the files that they need. Okay. Now, before I start editing, I'm going to need to create a timeline. Okay. So when I create a timeline, I'm going to go to my offline folder and I'm going to press Control N. Then it's going to open this timeline dialog box and it's going to select DSLR 25. This is obviously the sequence that I'm always using. For you, it might look different, but I'm choosing DSLR 1080-25 because I know my footage is shot on a DSLR. So after I open this dialog box, I'm going to name it and call it offline and click enter. Now the sequence is here and now I can clearly see it. I can scroll through it with the playhead. I don't have anything on the timeline yet, but I'm still going to add my footage. Okay. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to add footage into the sequence. So you can add footage in different ways. So I can grab the footage and put it all into my sequence. I'm going to press Shift C so I can see everything and then start editing. As you can see, as I'm scrolling through the footage, it's playing quickly. But this is a longer way of working. I only want to import the clips that I want. So I'm going to select all of these clips and hit delete. So the normal way to do things is double click on your footage. So I'm going to double click on this clip. As you can see, it pops up here in my source monitor. I'm going to make this bigger. And as I scroll through it, you can see the footage. Because I don't want to bring the whole clip, let's say I don't want to bring the whole clip, I want to bring in the clip that I want to start editing with. So let's say I want to take the clip from 2 minutes and the clip is 20 seconds. So I'm going to press the I button, which creates an endpoint. This is creating a selection of what part of the clip that I want to bring into the software. Then let's say I just want to take this part of this clip from here to here. I'm going to press the O on my keyboard, which is the out point. And now I've selected the area of the clip that I want to use. Now, once I've selected that clip, I need to bring that clip into the timeline. So how you can bring the clip into your timeline, you can use the insert function or the override function. If you use the insert function and you've got clips over here, it's going to push all the other clips forward. But if you use the override function, it's going to put this clip over wherever the playhead is. So for now, and another thing is you need to move your playhead to wherever your playhead is. That's where the clip is going to be. So now I'm going to move the playhead to the beginning of the timeline. I'm going to click insert. Now, as you can see, I've got the clip here. I'm going to expand it here, pressing Control plus, so I can see the clip. As you can see, the clip is around 34 seconds. When you open a timeline, when you drag clips into a timeline, the timeline is separated into two parts. It has the video track, which is this track here at the top, and all these tracks here. These are called the video tracks. And at the bottom, this is called the audio tracks. So when you bring in a video that doesn't have audio, this will mainly be blank. So you just need to know that's how it works. When you bring in a video into a timeline, it separates it into two things, the video track and the audio track. Okay, so now let's say I've inserted the first clip and now I want to insert another one. So I go to my source monitor and I click to make another selection of this big file. Okay, that's already bad sound up, but let's say I want to use it, right? So now I want to use it. I'm going to press F9. I want that clip. Now this clip is here. If I want to move this clip to the front of this one, I can I can grab it and hold the left mouse button and drag it until it's here. And I put this clip in the front. And I pull this one back to close the gap. Now I've rearranged these clips. If I want this clip to be shorter, I can click right here and drag it. If I want to make the clip longer, I can click right here and drag it with the left click button. And let's say now I want to make an edit. So let's say I want to cut off some pieces of this clip. So let's say, in order for me to cut it up, I need to use the blade tool. You can get the blade tool by pressing B or by going here and selecting it. Some people call it the razor tool, I call it the blade tool. So it's just easier to remember because blade tool it's like a nice connection for a shortcut. So let's say I want to chop this piece up, this clip up. So I'm going to select here, make a few cuts all over this clip. And then I want to delete these ones. I'm going to hit the delete button, select it, delete it, and delete it here. Now I've deleted certain sections of this clip, and now I want to bring it together. So if I want to bring all the stuff, I can drag the clips to close the gaps, or I can click in between the clips and hit the ripple delete button. Then it's going to bring them together. Hit the rip delete button and it brings them together. Now let's say I've edited my video and I'm done. You know, my video starts with the exterior shot of a house and then interior of a house, then people sitting on a couch. Let's just say that's the sequence for now. And let's say I've done all the editing in this project. Now I'm happy. Now I want to bring music into the project. I can go to my music folder and double click on the music, right? And when I double click on the music, it's going to load on the source monitor and I can play the music from here. And let's say I look at my timeline and I say, okay, my sequence is 30 seconds, so I need music for 30 seconds. So I can go to the beginning of the music track and hit the I button and go to 30 seconds and press the O button. And then if I want to bring music into the timeline, I can just use this button, click this waveform button to drag the audio, and it's going to come underneath. Because it's audio, it's not going to go on the video track. It's going to go on the audio track. As you can see, this is the audio track for all the video clips, and this is the audio track for the music. Let's say now I'm happy with my music. Let's see how it looks like, how my edit looks like.
Personality, when I stand on these niggas, a job at the end of the day, like you need to know what you're doing, you need to apply things properly.
And let's say my edit is amazing and I'm done making all my choices, right? Now I'm done editing and I've got my music and I've got my sequence ready. So if I want to export this video so I can upload it on YouTube, I'm gonna have to make a selection which is an in point and an out point, just like how I did it here in the source monitor, but I have to do an in point and an out point here on the timeline. So I'm gonna go to the sequence and let's extend the music, and then if I want to export this whole video, I'll go to the front and I'll say press the I button to make an in point, and I'll go to the very end of this edit and make an out point. Now I'm telling Premiere Pro that I only want to select the part of this timeline. If I didn't want to do that, and I wanted to only export half of this timeline, I would move my playhead. In fact, I'd move my playhead to where I want it to be and press O, and then now if I exported the video, I would only export it up until here. So out point selects the part of the clips that you want to export. Okay, so that's why it's so important to know where your in point is and your out point is, so you can know which part of the timeline you want to export. Okay, so now I'm just going to go back and I'm going to make another out point towards the end here because I want to select the whole entire sequence. Now when I'm done editing my video, adding music and making all my cuts and rearranging all my shots, I want to export it for YouTube or Facebook or whatever, or for a client. If I want to export a video, I'm going to go File, Export, and I'm going to go to Media, and then a export dialog box is going to pop up. There you go. So that's the export dialog box. Now it's going to ask you what format do you want the file to be. I'll keep it as a H.264, but there's many different types of file types that you can make. You can export a QuickTime file. You see the settings change. I can change a preset and say I want it to be a ProRes HQ QuickTime. This is just the codec. But to keep things simple for this video, I'm going to leave it as QuickTime. Right? As a H.264. Now when I look at the output, it's telling me where this is going to be, the settings and the timeline settings. I know my sequence is 1920 by 1080 because it's DSLR footage, and that's what the sequence settings are. Okay, so before I export, I can name the file and say export. I also need to pick where it's going, so I'm going to go on my desktop and I'm going to go to my file, project, and I'm going to export it into here. So now, if you just export and you don't look where you're saving the file, you won't be able to find your export, the video. So if you want to know, you have to click on the name here and choose exactly where you want your file to be. So I'm going to click again, and I want it to be in my desktop, in my files folder. Then I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to hit the export button. When I hit the export button, the program will start rendering and making the video file. That's what the video file looks like. It's a rendering. Boom. There we go. One thing I'd suggest is that first you need to learn about different file types. So you need to learn the different types of video files in terms of video file properties, from your frame rate to resolution and to codecs. So you need to read about codecs, frame rate, and video resolutions. One last thing is when I said the sequence is 1920 by 1080, it's because I knew when I was creating it, I selected those properties. If you don't know what the settings of your timeline is, you can go to sequence, settings, and then Premiere will tell you what is the frame size of your sequence. And you must always make sure that the frame size is exactly the same as your footage. If I click on this clip and I go to properties, I can also see the frame size, 1920 by 1080, and it's 25 frames per second. Anyway, that's it for the first video, guys. This is the basic way of editing videos in Premiere Pro. I'll make more videos in the next session, and I'll dive deeper into the different aspects of editing in Premiere Pro. Oh, one thing I forgot to show you. Once you're done editing, you have to save your file. So you have to go File, Save, and make sure you know where your project is, because if you don't know, you're going to struggle to find it. So I'm going to find the same folder where everything is. I'm going to go to Desktop, File, and save my project. File name is Tutorial, and hit the Save button. Now I know my footage and my project and my music is all in the same place. So that's it for the first video editing tutorial. I hope you guys like it. If there's things you don't understand, let me know. If you want me to explain other things, let me know, and I'll try to do that. Until next time, guys, my name is Lungile. I hope this video has been helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.